What's going on, and welcome to Citizen Sleeper, where we are continuing our Game Pass journey to find out if this is a game that you'd like to download or not. So let's go ahead and jump into a new game, and I am instantly intrigued. We got a machinist, an operator, an extractor. What kind of game is this? Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Perk: photosynthetic skin, sunbathe, dice action, allows energy recovery at home. What? +1 to strength or strength of will. -1, approach problems with awareness to intuition. Okay, that's interesting. And then we got the operator. They work with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. They're assigned an operator who are usually cerebral and precise people. Work with digital interfaces, -1 strength or strength of will. And then the machine, what was their perk? Chance to gain cryo on interface actions. A machinist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Chance to gain random scrap item on engineer actions. +1 to work with machines and physical tools in engineering. -1 from engage. So I'm worse at approaching a problem head on. Interesting. These are all so different. -1 strength or strength of will. I mean, I like the ability to recover energy. Energy sounds like it would be important. So we get the sunbathe dice action. Interesting. But I also would like the idea of working with machines, but I want to face my problems head on. So let's take an operator. We have a chance to get cryo on interface actions. And we're a little worse at endurance. And we can approach things. You know what? No. Screw awareness. We're the extractor. Let's get into it. What is this game? Do you know? Tell me, please. Don't tell me. I want it to be a surprise. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. Where am I? Unknown. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in behind and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple: collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Wait for the cold. That's all there is now. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but even then, your body has shut many of its systems down to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again, recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes, the cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then the light, white as the coal, then softer and softer until in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. What? I am so intensely confused. Whoa, am I on a ring? I'm like on a halo. Dragos. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life. You stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges, where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, sleeper, y'all thawed yet? Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames, must have been better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus. Dragos? Shrouded in a makeshift tech. His headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. It didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. What happened to them? He ignores your question. I won't ask what led you to it. Sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you are just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. You nod along. You remember your biometrically signing the forms. Cold floor on your feet as you pad into the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S&ARP wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them, and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? For now, sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye's in the best place you could be right now. The eye? Station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things I gotta be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freighter container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the Rex. His drones already converging on a rusting hulk, plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Tutorial. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. Oh, that's all I can do right now. So wait, if I go here, can I... It says I can go back with the D-pad, but I can't. Cryo, cryptocurrency stored in air-walled sticks of memory known as chits. Interesting. That's the only thing down there, huh? Okay, empty container. You're home. For now, let's go. End cycle. All cycles need to end. Rest and prepare for the next one. Per cycle, minus energy, minus condition. So, this is interesting. This is like an RPG kind of deal. Like a tabletop almost RPG. You wait curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? I would say building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here. Maybe here on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container: the mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachet smells like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images of your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal, ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright, polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you've finished drinking that they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Condition, action dice, and energy. 1. Condition. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the less dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Energy. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food and currency to buy it. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving, and your condition will deplete at double rate per cycle. Okay. Leave. Dragos is stood in the corner when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. Pauses. So I'm not gonna chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. Alright then. He nods. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value. Most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Got it. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd best be suited to moving on as quick as you can, and sleepers, well... But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need the help. Happy to. Okay. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly, turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later. Looks like it's time to get to work. So we can go to Dragos's yard, and that's it. Let's go to Dragos's yard. Actions are the primary way to interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, select it with the D-pad and A, and then choose an action dice to assign it. Repeatable action, hull dissection. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. Repeatable action, manual salvage, endurance. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you are no stranger to hard labor. Okay. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcome. Positive, the action goes better than expected. Neutral, the action succeeds. Or negative, the action fails. Action dice affect these outcomes as follows. 6, 100% chance positive. 5, 50% chance positive, 50% chance neutral. 3 or 4, 25% chance positive, 50% chance neutral, 25% chance negative. 1 and 2, 50-50 neutral negative. Type 1, there's a motorcycle just drove by. Either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. Risk, either safe, risky, or danger. Safe, no loss of condition, energy, or cryo. Negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. Danger, negative outcome means condition loss. Neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. 3, skill. The skill that this action requires, either engineering, interface, endurance, intuition, or engage. Engagement? I don't know. Modifier. Either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. Okay. A debt called in. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or two, things could get nasty. Back in business. Every salvager knows they are always just one lucky hull away from their next payday. We're gonna do the hull dissection. Oh, no, maybe we should do the endurance. It says +1. We don't... Oh, we did take +1 endurance. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I forgot which guy we chose at the beginning. So let's input a dice. I pick the dice? Are these all the same? Or is this what I rolled in the beginning of the day? So hit me with a 3. And it'll take me to a 4. It's really not a net gain, but we can start the action. Tutorial clocks. Action often progresses clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something, good or bad, is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Dragos' death, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Positive outcome. Nice. All right, we're gonna do the hull dissection, because now I know I can drop in a 6 and get 100, or well, yeah, 100% positive outcome. In Citizen Sleeper, you unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives, depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any tracked drive will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive with left bumper. You are now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. Oh, that's just me reading the background. Scroll the station with left stick or left trigger, right trigger, rotate the camera with right stick. Good luck. Okay. Yeah, I want to do the hull dissection. And I'm going to drop a 6 in there. 100% positive. Plus back in business and plus 15 cryo. Every salvager. Okay, so I'm actually like doing pretty okay. So we have repay Dragos or survive. You need access to corporate pharmaceuticals, otherwise this escape attempt will come to a rapid end. Find a doctor. Or repay Dragos. Dragos pulled you out of the salvage and set you up. Perhaps you can repay his kindness in time. We're gonna stick with survive. Oh, I just want to close that. So I can go and look for a doctor, huh? Got the Rotunda, got Doc B1, B2, Bright Market, which is where I would assume she would be. But let's go back to Dragos's yard. Although, if I use all of... Actually, you know what? I think I should actually use up... I should use up my salvage. I should use up my points today. And then tomorrow, when I roll new dice and I'm out of energy, I will go find the doctor. Because right now, if I go to the doctor and it's like, you need to roll to see what you get, I don't have anything good. I'm actually in a bad spot, so let's go ahead and roll the salvage. Plus 5 cryo from a negative outcome, not bad. And let's do it again. Plus 10 cryo, worked towards my back in business. We only need 3 more. So let's go home to our empty container. Perk, we can sunbathe. Your frame's photosynthetic skin allows you to gather energy through sunlight. The longer you stay, the better. I can't. I forget which one is energy and which one is hunger. Can I look that up? No. I don't remember. I think the bottom one is the hunger. Let's end the cycle. All right, we're starving. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions. As you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No. You feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Touch it. You find a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try in a moment of impulsiveness to connect them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you. Things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them. Try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling you in 2 directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open in the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind. A storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. Or you're starving. Our dice suck today. So let's go and see. I'm gonna assume that they might be in the market. So let's go check out the market. Ask for directions. Why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the bright market? All you need is the courage to approach them. I don't know about that. Explore the market with intuition. The bright market is the busiest part of the eye's lower rim. You can find anything and everything here. Okay, wait. Hold on. So the bright market is where I need to go, I think, for my job. Let's switch to this one. Now we're paying off Dragos's debt. Does it indicate to me that this is where I need to go? It does. That's what the little yellow dot is. It's right there. So if I switch back to survive, we're tracking the doctor. Now we're at the market again. Okay. So a critical action, we need to talk to people. It's got a chance of danger, or we can attempt to explore on our own, but with a -1. A -1 would not affect, the 4 would not be affected by the -1. The 4 is gonna roll the same either way. I mean, we gotta try it. 25% chance positive, 50% chance neutral. Let's ask for directions. Neutral outcome. We lost 6 cryo, but we gained local knowledge. Oh crap, the local knowledge is what we need to find the doctor, it looks like. Okay, so we have to roll this one, it's risky. 50% chance that we get it. Let's do it. Neutral outcome, local knowledge, we did it. Okay. So, how does that find us the doctor? Oh! It opened up new areas. Interesting. Sabine, the doctor. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. Keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hand block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look at the enforcer. The enforcer is looking down the corridor and you dare a glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He is there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, carry through those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercury teardrops. Subsidiary sense, input, or aesthetic markers. You aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make a note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro! The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above. And for a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. Come, sit, comes a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away. Replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed, you make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please, sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns. A compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles. They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose to prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or, in your case, escaping. They built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swapped your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch or the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh. And you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside? You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yadigan. They are influential in the low end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yadigan has connections, smugglers from the Starward Belt. Mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it will be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave. Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. That's cool. Time has to pass. Well, I'm in a bad spot then, but I'm starving, so let's get some food. Emphas is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. Approach. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests. Grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink. Comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through the heavy spacer slang. Eventually, it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Emphas speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. Thank you. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat of the burner is like a bonfire and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers. Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. Hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. You begin to tell him about your journey to the Eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility in its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems you tell him like some dream that you once had, but you can't ever forget. You tell him that the Eye excites you and scares you. You're unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. Slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the walk. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pen marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Hey! New drive discovered. Repay Dragos. Get to know Emphas. Build a ship mind. You've heard talk of a fabricator owned by the Ord Exchange. With that and a few fragments, you could build a ship mind core. Are we trying to make a ship? All right, let's work on repaying Dragos, though. For the time being. And we can go to Dragos's work yard, and we can spend the end of our day working. We'll do some manual salvage. Negative's fine, we still benefit. +5 cryo. I'll take it. That makes up for what I spent at trying to find the doctor. Let's go back to the empty container. I can't do the perk, which is interesting. I need to do the perk. Let's end the cycle. So it looks like we get as many dice as we have hunger, maybe? The energy dictates our dice. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparks with glittering lights like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring, through these forms, then leaping off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There's so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to parse, but you begin to try. Focus on the nodes. The nodes are glassy, bright, but in all this flow, the only solid and fixed points. You approach one, a pyramid or a triangle. Dimensions are difficult here, and lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers conceal a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange, but before you can glimpse inside, the glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There's so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see two lines, two threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. Let's look at the second one. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere shimmering above a strange, angular body. The pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. You open your eyes. Time is short. This is cool. Hunted. Someone out there is tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. I find this very compelling. Okay. A cloud. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the Eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data, but be careful, these networks are old and strange. Press Y to toggle this view on and off. Oh. Interesting. The Yadigan agent. Keynode. Havenage? 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 I don't know. Agent. Solheim Gate. Keynode. So can we go to these places, but they're just like more dangerous? Havenage Gate H4. Interesting. So I need more days to get to the doctor. Let's go back to Emphasis Stall real quick. Let's see how much food costs, because we need fungus. 15 cryo. Emphasis? Spiced fungus is one of the few things potent enough to stimulate your limited taste sensors. It's incredible stuff. Emphas doesn't trust people easily, but he notices his regular customers in his own quiet way. Let's order some. Start the action. Okay. Neutral outcome. I'll take it. 3 energy. So there's a hardware exchange. There's so much going on in this game. We gotta help Dragos. So, actually, I wanna do... Yeah, let's go to help Dragos. No, before we help Dragos, we're gonna go to the empty container. I don't want to end the cycle. I want to sunbathe and gain energy. If we put in a 4, that puts us at 50% positive, 50% neutral. I thought 5 was better than that. 100% positive. Let's use our... Let's use our 4 and make it a 5. I think this is a good place to use it. We'll save our guaranteed success for something else. Positive outcome, plus 3 energy. The energy is my food. Son of a fart. Well, I thought the energy was the bar at the top, but energy is food. So that was a waste, but we learned. And that means we also don't have to go and spend all of our credits on food. We can go over there and do that. Or cryo, I think is what it's called. So the hull dissection is risky, but we can guarantee a positive outcome. So we're gonna do that. Plus 15 and 2 to back in business. Now let's do a manual salvage, and this might do finish back in business for us. Plus 10 cryo, back in business, completed. So how do we can go to Dragos now. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures spilling from holes in the twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's beauty, isn't she? Dragos stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it is lowered into the yard. She is. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up, and now look at this. Ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather some enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous... Gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What happened? What do you mean? He glances at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what happened. No, what happened to the ship? Not my concern, he shrugs. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said I shouldn't stick around, but I'm gonna need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside that container, the wreck of the SNARP freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own? A womb for your rebirth into this strange station. I put a lot of emphasis on womb. You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about the ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Drago squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winter Light. Let's do it. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. Real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. Nice. So we ended up helping Dragos. Tutorial character upgrades. You've completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point to spend on upgrading your character. Access your character menu with RB. Look at this. We have one upgrade point. If we click it, I can't do any, can I, how do I? No, go back. I would like to, there we go. Sometimes telling what you're selecting is a little difficult. So we can take a perk if we save up and we get 2 points. Hard to kill, keep 2 dice even when your condition is breaking. I mean, that seems good. Or we can take something else. We can never increase our intuition. Our intuition is just a permanent lacking thing for us. Reroll all of your dice once per cycle. That's amazing. Dice actions display potential positive and negative outcomes. That's actually, intuition's pretty good. Chance to gain energy after any engage action. All cryo actions are discounted by 20%, that's not bad. Chance to gain cryo on interface actions if I take interface. And then if I upgrade it, agent nodes give double data rewards. Interesting. Or efficient extractor. Chance to gain random scrap item on engineering actions. Honestly, I would rather wait until, although maybe I can't upgrade when I'm like about to, or when I'm like engaged in something, so I might have to choose now. I'm really tempted because it's going to be multiple more cycles before I get to do this. I think I'm gonna fall into breaking. Although maybe breaking is the lowest one, so maybe I won't. I don't know. Anyway, I'll think about it, and I'm gonna go ahead and call the video right there. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been awesome. This isn't necessarily a game that I think I would want to record all of, because reading lots and lots of dialogue is tiring, and I don't always feel like doing that, but this is a game I think I'm actually gonna just play in my free time, because this seems great. This seems like a great game to just sit down at the end of the evening and just sit and mess with and go through and explore. This is awesome. This has been Citizen Sleeper. Go check this out on Game Pass. Like, if you've made it to the end somehow, you should definitely be downloading this game already, because this is amazing. This is so cool. I'm so into this. Thank you so much for joining me. Put some good out in the world. I hope some good comes back to you, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.